The Amazing World of Superman, issue 279. No, don't save me, Superman. Save Metropolis. Together again by popular demand. Superman and Batgirl. The greatest hero of them all, Superman. Co-starring the flame-haired woman of shadows, Batgirl. Batgirl, what do you mean you don't want me to save you from falling to your death? It's Metropolis. You have to save Superman. I can take care of myself. The city runs on fuel, energy, power. But when a power-hungry men decide to drain the great cities dry, it takes a man of steel and a maid of darkness to stop the menace of the energy blackmailers. The phone, and I was just about to go home. Who'd call the office after working hours? Clark Kent here. Bruce, you old dog, I haven't seen you in weeks. Hey, when are we getting together? No time to talk about socializing now. I need your help, or rather, the help of Superman. It was the spine chilling voice of Bruce Wayne, the Batman, that came over Clark Kent's phone. But what Clark heard was a friend in trouble that led to the Batcave and a special job for Superman. You're about the same size I am, so there's no costume problem. So all I have to do is a few Batman type stunts and MC the charity concert. But don't forget, whistle if you need me. Soon, at the Gotham City Museum, Coliseum. Bobby, we were supposed to start the concert 10 minutes ago. Maybe he couldn't make it. Don't worry, Joni, he'll be here. Hey, it's him, the Batman. It is the night of the Gotham Folk Festival, when music fans are treated to a sight they will not soon forget. Two of the greatest folk music stars introduced by the festival's chief sponsor, the Batman. And among the spectators is Gotham Congresswoman Barbara Gordon, alias Batgirl. Sometimes I miss running around town in costume the way he still does, but I like to think I'm doing as much good in Congress. Soon, super ventriloquism masks a deep Kryptonian basso with the distinctive icy voice of the Caped Crusader. Welcome, good ladies and gentlemen, to Gotham's ninth annual Charity Folk Festival for Needy Children. Simultaneously, at a pier in Gotham Harbor. This is the last jump. Now we can take the barge out to the tanker. Finally, I'm beat from loading all this smuggled oil aboard. Sounds good to me. If they're tired, they won't put up much of a fight when I take that stolen fuel away from them. We could have used another hand loading this glop, but Marty had to keep an eye on the charity concert. Yeah, we had to make sure there's no Batman to mess up tonight's action. This way, it's a milk run, run! While at the aforementioned charity concert, oh, little girl lost, she takes herself so seriously. Maybe I can catch Batman before he leaves, compliment him on his presentation. A whole oil tanker crew just might be a bit much to take on. Might as well get Superman in on the action. He's probably psyched up for it. Now watch this. That's a switch, changing to Clark Kent from a Batman costume. Hey, that whistling, it can only mean that Batman can use my help after all. The stagehand says he saw Batman duck into this dressing room. I never found out who he really is, but he'd be flabbergasted to know that Batgirl is Congresswoman Gordon. Not quite as flabbergasted as Barbara Gordon is to find out that Batman is secretly that mild mannered reporter, Clark Kent. Come on, he couldn't be. Right, he couldn't be, because Batman's across town, but then again, so is Clark, or rather, Superman. Figured you'd swim out here underwater so the rats on the barge wouldn't spot you flying. Give me a hand, it's wet in here. I can see Frank and Luke now. They're passing the 3 mile limit from shore, out of the United States legal jurisdiction. Lower the loading winch. Marty reported from the arena that Batman just left the stage, but he hasn't had nearly enough time to get here yet. That's it. Lower the hooks to the barge and pull him up. Forget about the Batman. Concentrate on transporting this month's supply of oil down to the Caribbean. so we can sell it back to Gotham for 10 times its original cost. Hold barge at deck level. Prepare to unload. Boss, we picked up these two limp items on shore. Thought they might be yours. Hear this, gang. Emergency. Drop that barge. My heat vision's already gotten to that megaphone, fella. It's short-circuited, just as this operation is about to be. Don't leave, scum. I've got a fist for you. You can't do this to us. It ain't legal. We're outside the 3-mile legal limit. I'm not interested so much in law as I am in justice. Without this oil, the entire city of Gotham will sludge to a halt. Besides, whether or not you were once outside the 3-mile limit will soon be quite academic. The following morning, Superman helps Batman foil energy blackmailers. Mysterious stand-in for Cape Crusader appeared at concert. Superman and Batman last night kept a tanker from hauling a month's supply of Gotham's oil out of the country to be held for ransom. And Batman couldn't be Clark. But why would Clark, of all people, have been Batman's stand-in? I'm going to Metropolis for a political dinner tonight, and I'm going to ask Mr. Kent just that question. Later that day, an attractive redhead steps off the elevator on the 20th floor of Metropolis's Galaxy building. Sir, would you happen to know if Clark Kent's office is this way? Clarky, he's the third door on the left. What's a cute chick like you want with that, Claude, when you have Steve Lombard to play with? Maybe I think he is cute. Now, if you'll excuse me. Hold it, Sunset. I didn't catch your name. My friends call me Babs, but you can call me Congresswoman Gordon. Whew, for a meek guy, Clark sure seems to have a lot of tough friends. And at the third door on the left. Hey there, got a minute for a lady politician? Well, Babs Gordon, long time no see. What brings you to Metropolis? I'm in town for a meeting with a bunch of political bigwigs, but I wanted to ask you, why did Batman ask you to stand in when he went after those energy blackmailers last night? Why, As soon as Babs explains how she linked Clark with the Batman, well, there's a perfectly logical explanation for that, which I'll tell her as soon as I can think of it. Why don't we discuss it over coffee or something? When I changed from half a Batman costume to Superman, I stuffed the Batman trousers into my cape pouch instead of Clark's pants. Now I've got to explain how. Got it. Well, now, so you want to know how I ended up playing Batman, eh? That's about what I had in mind. Well, I'm doing this TV special on costumed heroes, you see, and I got in touch with the Batman. But at that moment, fire engines, as far as the eye can see, all racing downtown. Great Krypton, a skyscraper right near the giant twin towers, vibrating about to crumble to pieces. That's where all the engines are heading. This looks like a rush job for Superman. See you later, Babs. This could be a big story. Got to cover it in the flying newsroom. Wait, what about that explanation? Not now, Babs. Babs, got to get to the rooftop heliport. No room in that elevator? I'll wait for the next one. Clark, but I thought you were in a big hurry. How we'll get to the people on the top floors? There ain't a hook and ladder in town high enough. Superman's coming. We're saved. I feel intense, high-pitched sound waves tuned to the precise frequency to shatter that building. The waves seem to be bouncing from all directions. So I'll whip up waves of counter vibrations. Wonder why Superman's spinning around the building. Who cares as long as it stops shaking? But as soon as the shaking stops, great stars. Now there are 2, 6, a dozen buildings shaking, and I can spin around all of them. Where are those sound waves coming from? As if in answer from out beyond the harbor. Attention, Metropolis. This is the controller. Surrender your month's supply of fuel oil or face destruction. They want our oil. That means no heat in our homes, no gas in our cars or fire engines, no nothing. Must be the rest of that gang Superman and Batman mopped up in Gotham. And hitching a ride on one of the skis on the WGBS flying newsroom is none other than that domino daredevil, Batgirl. Soups is losing his cool, tearing out to that tanker to wreck the antenna where he thinks the vibrations are coming from. This light meter I borrowed from a Daily Planet photographer is acting up, indicating that disturbance originates here at the Twin Towers. Halfway out to the ultimatum casting tanker, the Man of Steel momentarily looks back over his shoulder. The moment I knock off that radio antenna, it'll be all over. Batgirl? What's she? Wait a minute. Sonic waves aren't coming from the tanker, but from the towers. The only building's not shaking. Somebody's turned them into a monstrous tuning fork to shake down the city. And roughly, the same thought goes through another head as I'm convinced the vibrating is being caused from somewhere in the Twin Towers. And the stronger it gets on this meter, the closer I'll. Yes, now! Batgirl looks like she's onto something. I better check it out. As quickly as thought and quicker than gravity, a bat rope grabs at a ledge on the side of the almost smooth structure. Two colorful figures simultaneously arc down to a certain office window where, glad you could make it, Batgirl. Wonder what we'll find inside. No time like the present to find out. Huh? It's just an old man. Not just any old man, but J. Saul Carey, owner of the world's biggest oil company. And I've got a hunch he's about to confirm the rumor that Carey Oil is broke as the Sphinx's nose. I'll turn Metropolis into a wasteland before I go broke. Open the hatches, flood the harbor with oil. Quicker than the time it took for Carey's words to reach from mouth to microphone, if all the oil in that tanker is dumped into the harbor, a lit match dropped into the water would ignite the whole shoreline. And as the stunned citizens watch helplessly from the edge of the water, a man of steel fills a pair of indestructible lungs with a gusher of compressed oil until he is close enough to exhale. Blast it. Superman sealed off the hatch so the gooey cargo can't be dropped into the ocean again. That takes care of your foul plot, Mr. Carey. Superman's flying off. Apparently, he figures you're docile enough for me to deliver to the authorities myself. He's probably off to find a good mouthwash somewhere. Don't make fun of that man, Carey. If it weren't for him, thieves and robber barons like you could trample the public to mush. We're lucky to live in a world where there's a Superman. And this was the scene the night of the charity concert in Gotham City, when I convinced everyone I was the Batman. The real Batman was using me as a decoy so he could surprise a gang of energy blackmailers. I managed to do all those stunts with equipment like this, the sort that actors use to appear to fly in stage plays. Being a hero for a day was quite an experience, but believe me, I'd rather keep both feet planted on the ground. This is Clark Kent for WGBS News. Both feet planted on the ground? Would you really, Clark? Well, that certainly explains why it was Clark of all people who masqueraded as Batman, but it doesn't explain why Superman happened to be in Gotham on that same night, does it? You see, Babs, Lois is constantly trying to prove that I'm Superman. That's ridiculous, of course. As you see, there isn't the slightest resemblance. Yeah, right. Lois must be putting Clark on. Clark's a nice guy and all that, but he's no more a Superman than I'm one of Sheikh Yamini's belly dancers. The end. The Fabulous World of Krypton. Untold Stories of Superman's Native Planet. Kandor, the miniaturized city in a bottle that was once a thriving metropolis on Krypton, now safely tucked away in Superman's Fortress of Solitude. Often, the man of might miniaturizes himself to visit these microscopic survivors of his lost race. Tell me, Kal-El, what makes you so curious about the magic master of Krypton? As you know, sir, even though I'm a Superman on Earth, I am vulnerable to magic. So anything that has to do with magic, real or fake, interests me. Listen then, Kal-El, of how Karox performed his astonishing feats of magic. It was the custom of Karox to crisscross Krypton putting on his magic shows. And now, for my next demonstration of Legerdemon, I will transform that shapeless cloud into something more recognizable. Snap! Ah, the cloud is changing shape. How can Karox do that, Father? Why, by magic, son. Great Krypton, the cloud is transformed into the face of Karox himself. It's the greatest trick I ever saw. As the masterful magician acknowledged the crowd's applause, his youthful apprentice, Masma, smiled coyly as he looked up at the sky. If the spectators only knew that I sky sculpted the gaseous head early this morning and camouflaged it with smoke that was pre-timed to dissipate for the performance. It doesn't matter that the audience knows Karox's magic has worked with tricks. The fun comes from trying to see how it's done and not seeing how. Sellout audiences were guaranteed wherever Karox worked his feats of wonder. Ooh, look at that! Karox commanding water to spring forth in the shape of a mermaid. If I didn't know better, I'd swear Karox has real magic powers. As always, there was a secret explanation for each amazing spectacle of nature, for young Masmo was always nearby. What the crowd really sees is a liquid encased automaton operated by me with a miniature remote control unit. Then one day the unexpected happened. Watch this boulder closely and observe what happens with the snap of my finger. But nothing happened, as a dismayed Masma suddenly realized why. Ooh, I rigged the wrong boulder. I prepared this one for his trick, not the one near Karox. To no avail, the mystified magician snapped his fingers again and again. As you can see, friends, this trick is no snap. Something's wrong. Masma's timing must be off. I've kept you in suspense long enough. Now watch. Poor Karox, nothing is going to happen. I can't bear to watch. But to the apprentice's astonishment, sensational, wonderful, more. Huh? What's going on? Mineral geysers sprouting forth before your very eyes. Sizzling suns, this can't be. Karox has actually worked an impossible feat of real magic. After the crowd dispersed, the magician unleashed one of his temper tantrums. Idiot! Your powderizing bomb was late. You know how essential timing is to my act. Let it happen again, and you'll suffer the consequences. Even as the temperamental Karox lashed out at him, Masma was able to reason that after all these years of practicing, Karox must have somehow developed supernatural powers. But the apprentice decided not to reveal the secret to the wizard. Instead, he pretended he was rigging each performance as usual, and so the magician never suspected his illusions were the real thing. Until one fateful day. How beautiful Krypton's firefalls are! It is traditional for newlyweds from all over the planet to come here for good luck. Gasp! The other side of the reservoir, look! The fire dam has burst open. The entire valley will be vaporized in a flame flood. And it was the same day that fate decreed the magic master would be giving a performance in the valley. And for my first illusion, a flame flood. That's no illusion. Run for your lives. Maz, we better flee too. Nothing on Krypton can stop those flames. Wait, there is something that can halt the flood of fire. Your magic. What? Have you taken leave of your mind? You should know better than anyone I wield no magic. Please, Karox, you must try, or the whole valley and all life in it will go up in smoke. Just snap your fingers as usual and concentrate on stopping the flames. Flames almost upon us. No other choice now but to try, hopeless as it must be. Karox snapped his fingers, and the flood of fire instantly turned into a stream of harmless popping bubbles. You did it, Karox. Your magic saved the valley. But Karox never did see his magical miracle, for the strain of casting the spell caused him to collapse. By the time the magician regained his senses, his apprentice had rigged a fake explanation for the flames to Bubbles' trick. a convincing explanation that had nothing to do with magic. I don't understand, Elder One. Why didn't Masma reveal to Kairox that he had gained the power of real magic? Because of Kairox's violent temper, Masma realized there would be disastrous consequences if Kairox ever threw a tantrum with all that power at his command. Masma worked under Kairox until the Magic Master's dying day. Every so often he had to trick his master into using magic to save lives or avert disasters, but never did he let Kairox catch on. After the magician's death, the apprentice revealed the real story, and the Magic Master gained belated worldwide fame. Though Masma performed as a magician too, he never gained the power of his teacher. What an amazing tale! Thank you, Elder One. And thank you, Master, for all those wonderful years you and I spent performing magic together. The end.